Hello again, everyone. I know, at least from this screen here, it doesn't look like much has happened since I last spoke to you, but I've actually been very, very busy. Gotten a lot of things done because we're at the sort of key technology point in the in sort of the buildcraft mod for Minecraft where it takes a lot of resources to make the next step. So, I've built a compressor and I've built a rolling machine and I've used those in order to build some rotary macerator and induction furnace and some solar panels and so on and so forth. And I've cut all of that out because honestly, there's not a lot interesting about that. I'm not specifically intending these videos to be a tutorial as to what the recipes for these machines are. I'm more so trying to showcase sort of some interesting ways that you can use them. So I've cut all of that out. Anyway, I'm on my cloud now, and I'm gonna be setting up. I'm gonna start with resource processing. That's going to be in our castle. But before I set that up, I'm just going to set out the outline. I'm going to just build the outline of our the foundation of our castle, so that we can figure out where exactly the processing plant is going to be relative to that. So I will be back for you guys in an instant with the outline of our castle drawn out. Alright, welcome back. So this is the general layout that I'm looking for the castle. I laid down floor in slightly darker wood as spruce and slightly lighter wood as fir in a pretty standard checkerboard pattern. This cobble right here just shows me where the center of my castle is, at least along this axis, because I would like my solar panels to be along the center of this axis. And so I've just brought up essentially everything we're going to need for this part of the build. And those of you who have worked through this sort of stuff before will appreciate just how much work all of this stuff was. So I've got transport pipes, some of every type, some redstone engines. I'll probably end up converting these to electrical engines a little bit later, but redstone will be fine for now. And then I've got two advanced solar panels. I'll need two more of these, but again, I'll make those later. An MFE, transformers down from high volts to low volts in 2 steps. And then I've got furnace macerator, hoppers, and glass fiber cables. So let's just start by setting up the transformers. There we go. So just so you know, so this is going to be, we're going to have 2 cylindrical spires sort of at the west end of the castle, 2 rectangular spires at the east end of the castle, and then there's going to be mostly an open courtyard. So this main area here is this basement level is mostly going to be filled with resource processing and resource sorting, and then but there will only be one level of that. There will be a courtyard above it. So let's give myself a pick, and this is my center. I'll want my that's probably fine. I don't want my solar panels totally centered, at least along the north-south, just the, or I do want it north-south centered, just not east-west centered. Here we go. So this block right here, I will place this way. So we've got 3 prongs on top, 1 prong on the bottom, which will convert from medium to low voltage. Now this one here I will place similarly, so we have got 3 on the top, 1 on the bottom. So this will go from high to medium. Now I actually have to switch how I am placing this block, because I want the single dot on the bottom, and in order to do that, you place it from the bottom like so. Now you of course cannot see the single dot, but we can check all the other faces and see that of course there are are no dots on any of those, so that means the dot has to be underneath. And now I will place 2 solar panels. Let's start with these ends here. Oops, shift click, and now this is charging up. And why don't we charge up our jetpack for a second while we're here. And once I've added 2 more solar panels to this should be enough to power what I intend for this base here. I've fiddled with, to a limited degree, with various sorts of power, and I mean, I'm happy to have sort of more complicated, more difficult, if you will, power structures, but at least for this little sort of sorting facility, I'd really like it to be self-sufficient, and the best way to do that is definitely going to be solar power to start. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to want the sorting machine on this end of our base, because all of our goods are going to be stored in the rectangular towers, which means that we're going to want we can probably branch out straight north and south for our goods manufacturing. So let's set this one out, and now we need our furnace, our macerator, our hoppers, and some pipes. I don't think we'll need that one yet, but we'll bring this along just for fun. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the absolute most basic design, where we're going to start with a macerator, and I'm going to need to put stone blocks here to build it up. Now we'll place 2 of those. Careful not to break too far. I would not like to break those. And let's think about this, shall we? No, I will actually want this one farther. One moment. I'm gonna have to get another wrench, and hopefully we won't break that. Okay, I've got my wrench that will destroy this block, and let's just hope that we do not break it in the process. Excellent. We got our rotary macerator back. So I'm going to want to place it one more forward. These I can just break. And hoppers. I think I might even be able to... No sense in that. So we're going to have pipes coming out the top of there. Now we start... I'm going to space this out a little bit more spread out than is probably strictly necessary, but if I can come up with a better design later, or a more compact design later, then we will. Actually, we'll want to start with the gold pipe, and then a stone pipes will go up, and over to another hopper, and our induction furnace. So this right here is just like an exceptionally simple design. We're just going to need an input into this hopper here. We can probably just do that. I don't know exactly how we're going to want to do that. For now, let's do a stone pipe this way. I'm also going to have resource resource processing on the other side here eventually. So some will drop down into a hopper and macerator that's going to be right here, and I'm going to control that with a diamond pipe, and yeah, this will be just fine. Actually, might as well go one further. We've got room to spare here, and I'm not exactly sure how I want this to work out eventually, but we'll figure it out. So I think these 3 ink sacs will turn this into a, yes, black ender chest. Good. And so now ender chest goes right here, and we will have a wooden pipe drawing out of it. Oh, apparently we need to build that one up as well. A wooden pipe, and then a golden pipe. Speed that up a bit. And now we need a wooden pipe coming out of here, and well, let's just, even though we could just put it straight into a chest, and we will. Now we'll put an ender chest here. Okay. Now all is left is to power these things. Eventually I'll want to use OR gates to power these things, but I just built some, need some redstone engines, just as sort of stop gaps that will work before we get OR gates. Here we go. Get that going. And you, in particular, I'll want an electric engine here, because you want to pump goods out of the initial block as quickly as possible. Now let's just see, everything should be going quickly. Alright, so this is a lot of this design is sort of as basic as you can imagine. We're just going to pump goods into the next step and have them be processed. The neat thing about this is when you have ender pouches. So here is my ender pouch, and let's go ahead and take a step back, and let's put a piece of cobble into our ender pouch, and that will automatically get sucked up, passed through our system. It will of course get turned into sand by the macerator. The first sand, of course, takes quite a long time, but if I had, say, a whole stack of cobble, each subsequent piece of sand that it macerated would go faster and faster as it got up to maximum speed. We now pass the sand through our system. The induction furnace will turn it into glass for us. Now, one small side note: I do realize that if you apply a redstone current to a redstone power to these second tier EU machines, you will maintain heat or speed, so it will always be operating at maximum levels. But that requires a bit of power to run, and I'm not a huge fan of doing that. So now we've got our glass, and that's sort of interesting how that ended up working out. But again, that's pretty similar to just a basic processing plant. This gets extremely cool when we go far away. Not too far away. We still want to be within range, but I'm sure most of you guys have already seen it. But I'm going to go down to my cave system, to my mining, and look to do this again. Alright, I am back in my cave system, in my mining pits, and I'm sure you can see that my robots have been busy, and they broke into some water. I'll have to fix that, but not right this second. So now the advantage of my processing system really shines. So let's get some ore. Oops. And now let's say you're working on a project and you get some ore and you want it right away. Well, that's where this system comes in. You've got your black box, and you can see right away it's going to get sucked right away, sucked up. And now we will ooh, excellent, diamond. But just so you can see, of course, the white bag is empty. But as you can see, I killed a creeper with a skeleton down here. But anyway, as I work on the rest of this mining, slowly but surely, we'll have to give it enough time so it'll happen. You can of course check your white bag, and tin will start showing up shortly. And the nice thing is the more you do, the faster it will go. And of course, especially if you're not dealing with too many people on a server, you can actually, just let people. You could build this project on a multiplayer server and let them know, hey, if you build a white and a black ender pouch, if they don't have ender pouches in the version of Minecraft that you're running, then you can just use ender chests and carry 2 ender chests with you. But yeah, this will simply allow you to throw all of your goods in there, and then slowly but surely it'll all come back out. Now of course people will have to, if there's a lot of people using it at the same time, you'll need to make sure that you only take your own goods, but that shouldn't be a problem. Anyway, that is sort of the absolute bare bones of my resource processing. More than anything, it's nice to have the second tier of macerator and furnace up and running, because they're just a lot faster than the first tier. And now I'm running them off of solar power, which is effectively free at this point. So that means that it's just a whole lot easier for me to just mine a whole bunch of goods. And oops, do not want diamond in there. They would clog up the system because we haven't made it a clever system yet. And so that actually is the 2 things that we'll have to work on. The first thing is going to be, I'm going to put effectively some logic in there with diamond pipes so that anything that can't be processed doesn't get put through the system and it doesn't clog it up. And also you'll notice that of course all cobble that we put in will all turn into glass, and we don't actually want glass for necessarily. You might want stone, you might want sand, you might want sandstone. There's lots of things that you can make out of cobble, and so you will need to do something a little bit more clever to make the system process cobble properly. All of that are things that I'm going to work on in the next function video. But before that, we're going to have a form video where I'm just going to build the rest of the castle, at least most of the castle, and get the structure down, that we can flesh it out with the rest of our resource processing and storage. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I will see you next time.